I love detective stories, and my favorite character is Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes is probably the most famous English detective, the star of hundreds of stories, TV shows, and movies. Today, detective stories are very popular, but Sherlock Holmes was the first, the original storybook detective. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle sold the first Sherlock Holmes book in 1887, 130 years ago. Conan Doyle was born in Scotland in 1859. At Edinburgh University, he studied to be a doctor and a scientist. Conan Doyle used ideas from science and medicine when he wrote about Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes was a character in a book. He wasn't real. But Conan Doyle read news stories about real crimes and used them in his books. And sometimes, real police officers used ideas from Sherlock Holmes stories to catch real criminals. Dr. Carolyn Morton teaches forensic science at the University of the West of England in Bristol.
Forensic science is using science to help investigate crimes and then bring evidence to court. Mud on someone's shoes, fibres from their clothing, a bit of broken glass, all sorts of things can be a link between a person and the scene of a crime.
A lot of ideas in forensic science come from Sherlock Holmes.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who invented Sherlock Holmes, in many ways led the way. He was giving the police and the scientists ideas. He was trained as a doctor, he knew about investigating crime, and in his stories, Sherlock Holmes was investigating using some science. So he was coming up with ideas for linking people to places, following their footprints, mud on trousers, that people weren't doing, and he made people think how to use science to solve crime.
Some of Arthur Conan Doyle's ideas about catching criminals are still used today. Sherlock Holmes was the first detective to use fingerprints to catch a criminal. And detectives today still look for fingerprints when they investigate a crime. Detectives have to work very slowly and carefully. Dr. Morton uses this house. It isn't a real house, it's a classroom for detectives. The teachers watch the students and help them learn the job. With a lot of practice, they learn to do it well. Today, people all over the world want to study forensic science. In their studies, they learn ways of working that Arthur Conan Doyle created more than 100 years ago for his storybook detective, Sherlock Holmes.